Hello, welcome back. It's Sunday afternoon, I think it's the 4th of February, I'm losing track of time. Off to the cinema this afternoon, I'm going to see Argylle, the new film from Matthew Vaughn. I like some of his films. I do like the first and third Kingsman films. I like Kick-Ass, I like some of his X-Men films. He can be a bit hit and miss. Sometimes he goes too far in trying to be extreme and outrageous. Argylle hasn't had the best reviews, but it's been fairly middling. And I'm in the mood for some fantasy action idiocy from Matthew Vaughn. So I'm going to trot off to the cinema now. Argylle, I think, should be a salutary lesson to us all in making our own minds up about films. I mean, we all have our own opinions, we all enjoy different things, we all find different things acceptable and enjoyable, but I think sometimes we can be easily led by what critics say, and I'm speaking as somebody who does review films. I'm doing it now, and I review them for a magazine, but I do read reviews and pay attention to reviews of other critics, say, particularly ones who I respect. And if they tell me something's not very good, or it's disappointing, or it's great, I tend to have that in the front of my mind when I even decide whether I'm going to go and see a film. Case in point with Argylle, the reviews have been very poor. It hasn't gone down particularly well. There's been a few not bad reviews that have said that it was fairly enjoyable, but the general consensus was that it was a bit of a mess. It goes on too long, it's very muddled, it's very smug. I've seen it now and I couldn't disagree more, which I think proves that you need to make up your own mind about these things. You need to go in with an open mind. And those reviews made me sort of think, do I really want to see this film now? I actually planned to see it last Thursday when it came out, but I didn't. I couldn't make it Friday because I was out. So I thought, well, I'll go and see it on Sunday. Nice Sunday afternoon treat to go to the cinema. And I had a ball. I had a really good time with this film. I understand some of the criticisms, but I think if you're in the right frame of mind and you're receptive to the madness of it, I think you will really enjoy it. There's a sense that it is all over the place, but in fact the narrative is very clever. There's lots of twists and turns. It goes to places you don't expect. It does things you don't see coming. You don't get that very often in films. And that's partly because things get spoiled online, and to be fair, this one hasn't been spoiled. But I think this is a real blast of a film. I do like Matthew Vaughn's films. I've loved certainly the first Kingsman film and the third. Wasn't so keen on the second. Obviously, he reinvented and rebooted the X-Men when he did the Days of Future Past and took the X-Men back to the 60s. He's done things like Stardust. On the whole, I've enjoyed a lot of his films. And I think he's got a clear love of action cinema. He's very inventive. He's very creative. There's so much energy on screen in his films. And that comes bursting out of the screen on this film. Reviewing it is slightly difficult because there's only so far you can go in describing the plot without spoiling it. And I've got no intention of spoiling it because I'm really encouraging you to go and see it. It starts off with this slightly cheesy sequence where a super spy character called Argylle, played by Henry Cavill, he's on the trail of a master criminal, Lagrange, played by the pop singer Dua Lipa. She escapes him and there's a sort of a helter-skelter chase around the coastal roads around Greece as he tries to catch her. Eventually she gets caught with the help of John Cena, who makes a very quick cameo role as his assistant. And then all of a sudden we're pulled out of this slightly cheesy Bond-born escapade to a book reading where we find Bryce Dallas Howard playing Ellie. She's a writer. She's written a series of books about Argylle and she's actually doing a reading from her latest book. She's about to finish her 5th book and she's finished it and she's quite pleased with it, but she emails it off to her mother who lives in Chicago. Her mother comes back and said she really enjoyed it. It was the best one yet, but there was something missing at the end. She wanted a little bit more. So Ellie, who thinks she's finished the book, she has to come up with a way to write a final chapter to tie this particular story up. She can't come up with anything, so she decides to go on a train trip to go and visit her parents in Chicago, which is where things go a bit crazy. On the train, she meets up with a chap called Aidan, played by Sam Rockwell. He's reading one of her books. He realises it's her. All of a sudden, they're attacked by a group of deadly assassins. What other sort are there? And a massive fight ensues on the train, and it all kicks off. I can't really go a lot further with the plot than that, because it goes all over the place. It's massively globe-trotting. Lots of it's set in London. Some of it is set in France, lots set in America. It does that sort of Bond-type globe-trotting. And I think it's sort of doffing its cap in the direction of Bond as we used to know him in the 60s and 70s, when he was a bit more fun than the rather dour super spy he is these days. It's loud and it's extravagant. The plot is really very clever. It's very labyrinthine. I would say you really have to pay close attention to it, but I don't think you do, because there is a lot of exposition, but it's actually dealt with very well. And it's sort of, the dips in the action sequences are filled in by bits more of the plot. And I think it's quite well structured. You're sort of hit by one twist, and you're hit by another, and then another. It really keeps you on your toes. The action scenes are really terrific. I mean, Matthew Vaughn knows how to stage action. He's so inventive and so creative. There are a couple here which owe a debt to, like, the Last Kingsman film, or one particular scene I'm thinking of, which is very balletic. It's just extraordinarily entertaining. It's dynamic. It's fun. There's a real chemistry between Bryce Dallas Howard and Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell is great. He's really having a great time here playing this action hero, which I don't think he's done much of before. And you've got great supporting cast. Bryan Cranston is superb as the villain of the piece. You've got Catherine O'Hara, and of course Samuel L. Jackson turns up, and it's always a delight to see Samuel L. Jackson. If you're expecting to see a film dominated by Henry Cavill, this ain't it. He is the imaginary Argylle, and he pops up now and again because Bryce Dallas Howard's Eddie sees him reflected sometimes in ways that I won't go into here. It's just great fun, and I think it's a shame it's been pulverised by the critics to an extent, because it's difficult, because a lot of critics don't like films like this anyway. They're not going to enjoy this sort of film, so they go in thinking this is going to be bad, and they make up their minds in advance, and they determine not to like it. I really don't see how anybody with a pulse could not enjoy this film, because I went to see it yesterday, miserable February afternoon, and it really lifted my mood and lifted my spirits, and it reminded me of why I enjoy cinema so much. And I think I enjoy this sort of fantasy escapist film more than any other types of films. I appreciate all the Oscar nom serious dramas and things, but at the end of the day, you got the cinema in the big screen, you got a drink, you've got non-crunchy food, hopefully, and you just enjoy this madcap adventure. It's just great fun. It's set up a sequel. It's actually set up a crossover, but I won't talk about that at the moment. It set up a sequel, which I don't know if that's going to happen now, because it hasn't done particularly well at the box office. But I think the interesting thing about this film, it's an Apple film. It's been distributed by Universal. So I think the fact that it will underachieve at the box office might not be a determining factor in the future of the franchise, because it will go onto Apple fairly soon, I imagine, which is where its performance will be properly judged. It's very similar to the recent situation with The Killers of the Flower Moon and Napoleon, both of which were big budget films. If they'd been produced solely by the studios, they would have been considered failures because they haven't made back their budgets. But because they're also aligned with streaming, they have a better chance of being recognised as hits. It's all very complicated. But anyway, Argylle, it was just terrific fun. I really enjoyed it. I had a great time with it. Any criticisms? There is a lot of green screen. I think that the thing they call the volume, I think that's used quite a bit. There's a lot of CGI. But a lot of that, I felt, sort of adds to the heightened unreality of it, if you like, because you sort of know you're in a false environment in certain scenes. And that added to the unbelievability of it, the suspension of disbelief. Some people have said it's too long. I have to say I didn't necessarily think so. The 2 hours and a quarter sort of flew by, and I enjoyed being with these characters. I enjoyed the situation. I enjoyed the action, the dynamic, and the humour of it, the lightness of it. I didn't feel it was smug particularly, or some might think it's a bit sort of smirky and self-satisfied. I didn't get that. I just had a great time with it, and I think you will too. So I heartily recommend that you go and see Argylle while it's at the cinemas, and I'm going to give it a big glowing 9 out of 10 for Argylle in cinemas now. Right, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Welcome aboard to some new subscribers I've had over the last few days. I know I've not posted anything for about 6 days for various reasons, but there will be more stuff coming up this week. So if you've enjoyed this video, if you're new here, press that subscribe button. It's a little thing there. And you can also leave a comment. and like, and I will see you soon. Until I do, keep taking the stuff.